So I'm back from another trip to Wales, and the plot is still looking very messy and very untidy. So there is a lot to do, but today's just going to be a general tidy up because I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. So first things first is I'm going to put the kettle on and then I'm going to get to work. A nice cup of tea to start the day. I'm absolutely gasping for a cup of tea. I've actually got a bit of a sore throat, so I do apologise if I end up coughing or spluttering during the filming. But I thought I'd get up here nice and early before the throat gets really worse, and get some work done. Because, like I said, I was away in Wales for a week. I was away for 3 weeks and then I came back for 2 weeks and then I was away for a week again. So with that 2 week period that I was home, I didn't have enough time to really do much work up here. Because then I was obviously away in Wales again, which was great. I had a really good time. But the allotment is still looking very messy and weedy, and there's still so much to do. I think today is just going to be a general tidy up, just weed, deadhead, sort the strawberries out, get some runners from the strawberries because I need to replace one of the beds. I need to thin out the turnips and the kohl rabi, but I think it's just going to be a general tidying day because it's looking very messy and it's a little bit embarrassing. But what I will say is that this year has been completely different to last year, because last year was so good and I got so many harvests, and this year it seems like there hasn't been much. For instance, the archway last year was completely covered with pumpkin leaves. It was so full, in fact, that I could hardly walk through the archway. And I harvested 34 pumpkins last year. This year I can count 4 pumpkins, and the plants are they're only about 4 foot high. It's really bad this year, and the blotti beans didn't grow very well either. There's only a handful of pods there, which I might pick later because they've dried out nice. But yeah, the archway is looking very sad and very empty. But I mean, there's been a few good crops this year. The potatoes have done really well. The carrots are ready for harvesting now. The Swiss chard always does great. The Swiss chard can just grow in anything. And the brassica bed's doing really well as well. The red cabbage and the kale looks really nice. But the pumpkins have just suffered this year, and I've heard quite a few people on Instagram have had the same problem. They're not growing as well as last year, and I think it is all down to the weather. I don't think it's down to the fact that I've been in Wales for 4 weeks. I think it's down to the weather, because we haven't had the best summer, hasn't been the hottest, which is what the pumpkins and the squashes need. So yeah, I do sort of blame the weather, because obviously I manured the archway and I manured the pumpkins when I put them in, and I thought, I'm going to get a really good harvest this year, because last year I didn't do anything and they grew really nice, and I thought, this year I've manured them, so I'm going to get an even better harvest. But I suppose that's just how life goes. You can never count on the weather, and every year is going to be different, so that's life. I suppose it's just a shame, because it would have been nice to have had more crops, more harvests, but maybe next year will be a bit better. So yes, today is just going to be tidying and weeding and deadheading, because the flowers even though I haven't been here to deadhead them, they've done really, really well. And especially the new flower patch, it's just brimming with flowers, and I'm so happy with it. And I'm just hoping the next year is going to be even better, because hopefully that area will be finished. But after I've done all the tidying and all the weeding, I'm going to focus on that area, because now is the time to sow the wildflower seed mix which I bought from September to October. But what I want to do is clear the area, the little patch where the seed mix is going down, and then sow that hopefully in September before I head back to Wales again, because otherwise I probably will never sow it this year. So I'm going to tidy today, I'm going to weed today, I'm going to get some strawberry runners, I'm going to thin out the turnips and kohlrabi, and I might harvest a few things as well. But first of all, I'm going to drink that cup of tea. So the strawberries did really well this year. I had such a big harvest from them, which was great. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the strawberries in this bed, because they are 3 years old. And now you can keep strawberry plants up to 5 to 6 years, but their yield will decline. We'll get the best strawberries from them when they're about 2 to 3 years old, and these ones are 3 years old, and these ones were runners from these plants, so I'll be replacing these ones next year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some runners from this plant, and I will put them up individually, and then I will clear this bed. Once they're well established, I will clear this bed, and then I will put the new runners into this bed. But first things first is I'm going to remove all the old and dead leaves, because that will allow the light to get into the centre of the plants, and you will get a better yield from the strawberry plants. And then the next thing to do is to take all the straw which I put down to stop the strawberries from rotting on the soil. I will take all the straw up, I put it on here, and then I take it over to my dad's compost bin, because you can put it in the compost, it's fine. And then we will get on with putting up the runners. So I've taken off the majority of the bigger, older leaves, and you can see lots of new growth happening, which is great because now the sunlight can get to them and they can continue to grow, and hopefully I'll have a big yield next year as well. I've taken all the straw off, that's gone in the compost bin, but one thing I did notice is that there are not a lot of runners this year. I don't know if it's just my plants or everyone else has had the same problem, but there's literally about 5 runners here, which means that I'm going to have to either wait or buy some more strawberries, because there are 24 strawberry plants in each bed. So I need 24 strawberries basically. But what I'll do is I'll put up the ones which I have got. So these are the runners. Now each strawberry plant would usually create 4 to 5 runners. You don't want them to produce too many, so if there are any more than 5 runners on a plant, then you need to chop them off. I don't have that problem because it's not that many at all. And then all you need to do is fill up a pot with some compost. And then you get the runner and then you push it into the compost. And then you leave it until it's well established, and then only then can you chop it off from the mother plant. You need to wait until the roots have developed. So I'm going to put on the ones that I have. There's another one here. So if the runners don't want to stay in the pot, then you can peg them down. Get some more pots. But I usually find that the runners stay in the soil quite good if you just give them a little push down. So that's 3. 4, 5, 6. I will have 6 strawberry plants, which we'll have to do, I suppose. But what I'm going to do is, obviously this bed will stay the same. This bed I was going to clear them, but what I might do now is just clear 6, replace the 6, and see how that goes, and then hopefully get some runners again from these next year. A little bit disappointed with the amount of runners here, but I suppose that can't be helped. So what I'll do after I put them up is I'll just leave them. I need to remember to water them because the pots will dry out very easily. And then it's just a matter of waiting. What I'll also do is I'll leave the cages open as well, so the birds can get rid of any pests that are on the strawberry plants. And I will manure them in winter as well, like I did this year. And then the strawberries can be left to their own devices. I think that's it. I think this weeding is going to take longer than I expected it to take. There are a lot of weeds, and it's going to take a long time to get on top of it, I think. But what I've done for now is I've just weeded around the kohlrabi and the turnip seedlings, just because they are at such a delicate stage, because they need to grow. And then what I do maybe in the next couple of days, if I find any time, is to come up here and weed the kale and the brassicas, and also the Swiss chard and the French beans. But I've done quite a lot today. It's just a lot of weeds, that's all. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to thin the kohlrabi and the turnip seedlings. Now I sowed these just before I went to Wales the first time round, so it was about a month ago. And as you can see, they've grown really well. There are lots of turnips, so they need thinning out drastically, and the kohlrabi's there as well, and there's enough, which is what counts. It looks like the slugs have been at them a little bit, but it's only a little bit of damage, so I'm not too worried about that. Hopefully the frogs are going to continue doing their job and gobble up those slugs, because I haven't really had any slug problems this year, which has been great. So first of all, I'm going to thin the turnips. Now they need to be thinned out to about 2 to 4 inches apart, and then the kohlrabi needs to be thinned out to about 8 inches apart. Now you can eat the turnip seedlings and the turnip tops, which is great. So I'm going to thin them both out, and then maybe call it a day, because it's getting quite dark. It's starting to get dark quite early now. It's only about 6 o'clock, but it gets dark at about 7 here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put the net down and maybe harvest a few things and then go home. So kohlrabi 8 inches. So I'm just picking a few raspberries to take home for pudding. There's absolutely loads on here, but I've let a few of them go, unfortunately, because I was away. But there's just so many canes here compared to last year. This is actually their second year, so by rights they should be producing more, which is great, because I do love raspberries. So I'm going to take these home for pudding, because it's starting to get dark now. It is actually officially autumn now. It's the autumn equinox today, and the nights are drawing in. It's starting to get a bit colder, and basically autumn has arrived. It just seems like summer has passed by like in a blink of an eye. It's gone so quick and I can't believe it. But I do love autumn. I love the colours, and I love the crisp mornings. It is nice, but it's just, summer's just gone so quick, and there just hasn't been enough time to do things that I wanted to do this year. Last year I said, oh, next year I'll be on top of everything, I'll do this and I'll do that, but I just haven't managed to do it again another year. So I will say it again, next year I'm gonna be on top of things, on top of the weeds, and on top of sowing seeds. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But no, this year has been a funny old year, and the vegetables have just not grown as well as last year. The flowers have been great, the vegetables haven't. But like I said at the beginning of the video, that's life. Every year is different, and we shouldn't be disappointed in it. It is a shame that there's not much to harvest, but hopefully next year the weather will be kinder and we'll have lots more. But for now, these raspberries are going to be absolutely delicious. And I will try and try to do more videos. I know I keep saying that, but I will try to do more videos. I have just been a bit busy in Wales, obviously, but if I do go again, then I will try and do some filming there, because I know a few of you have asked about a video from Wales, so I will try and do some more filming. I will try. But that's it for this video, so thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.